So I'm at the 2024 LA Auto Show and Volkswagen has just taken the wraps off of the brand new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan. Let's dive in and check it out. All right, so let's start off by mentioning that this is not a refresh, but an entirely new generation of the Tiguan. It's an all-new design, upgraded power, and more features. So let's jump into it by looking at the design. The front end is simple yet somewhat aggressive, and Volkswagen hopes that it will attract some younger buyers. The first thing I notice is it looks nice and tall, and I think that's indicative because Volkswagen says that they raise the hood, and when you see it in person, it's got these two angled cuts at the top which kind of raise it up a little bit, and it does give it that tall sensation, the tall look that looks pretty good in an SUV. Next, the slim headlight is cool, and there is a light bar that connects the two together. Now, Volkswagen says this is optional and it's not going to be standard across the entire range, but the headlights are also new here. Camera is picking up the LEDs, so there is a LED marker here and it is flanking the LED headlight bulb, but the headlight itself is nice and skinny, gives a sleek profile to the front end. Now let's come down and look at the face of this thing. The grille is absolutely massive. This front end area does have a little camera there, and then the bottom half portion seems like it's being occupied by some cameras, or not cameras but radars or whatnot, but the rest of it is functional. Out the side here, this is functional. It is sending air out, and it's for aerodynamics and cooling, obviously. And then down at the bottom, more sensors. But the front end overall is very young, very fresh, somewhat aggressive, but understated at the same time. I like it a lot. It's a pretty clean look. All right, coming around and seeing the side profile here, I won't be able to get the full frame of it because there's a car here right next to it, but it looks like a pretty decent size from the side. And let me zoom in here. Let's focus in on the wheel. So this is the R line, as you can see signified up there on the badge. But this is the R line, and it comes with 20-inch wheels. These are black with a silver finish around the trimming, and they look pretty striking for the R line. I do like how the wheel arches are painted in black, and it kind of gives it somewhat of a sporty and bulging look on the side. But I do like this wheel design, and here's a view of it maybe a little bit further back from the side. It definitely is a compact SUV, but it's got a decent size to it. It doesn't look too puny, let's call it that. Now, let's come around all the way to the back. There's some new stuff going on here, and the highlight is, of course, the new tail lights and the light bar that stretches across. Very EV-like. The tail lights, there's a Volkswagen illuminated logo here, and the tail lights look pretty cool and modern. Coming down, this is available in front-wheel drive as standard. Well, I should say standard all front-wheel drive and available 4Motion all-wheel drive. This is basically a top-of-the-line trim with all of the fixings. But let's crouch down. There is a very similar kind of grille finish in the back here, with basically what it looks like in the front, kind of matching what they've got going on in the front grille area, and a understated diffuser. Notice there are no exhaust pipes, so it kind of takes away that sporty element. Everything is basically tucked underneath the car, and the nice thing about that, it kind of gives it a cleaner look back here. All right, since we're back here, now let's go ahead and look at the trunk. Power tailgate. There is the trunk. I would say if you mix and match, rack and stack, depending on how clever you are with your luggage, you can probably fit 2 to 3 larger pieces of luggage back here. And it does look like the rear seats do fold down via these toggles and handles here. So you can fit additional stuff in the back. There shouldn't be any issues carrying around your things on a day-to-day basis, going on a long weekend getaway. There's plenty of room in the back of the Tiguan. Let's take a quick peek on what's going on down here. There is your spare, and there's some additional storage areas flanking the main compartment. All right, now let's look at the engine. This is the very familiar Volkswagen 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It makes 201 horsepower. It's up from 184 from the prior generation, and it also weighs 170 pounds less. So this is all an effort of Volkswagen saying they want to improve the performance, the approachability of this car, obviously the better power, and the weight reduction is going to improve performance and fuel economy ratings. This is a front-wheel drive car, and as I mentioned before, all-wheel drive is also available. The towing capacity has also been improved up to 1,800 pounds from 1,500 pounds, but then again, I'm not really sure who's really going to tow with a Tiguan. Nonetheless, it is an improvement to note. There are no mentions of fuel economy ratings, but there are hopes that it will be better considering the weight reduction and the efficiency gains from this generation of the Tiguan. All right, now let's jump into the inside, but one thing to note, there is no longer a third row option in the Tiguan. That is now gone for this new generation. Let's highlight the premium feel. This is the top of the line, and Volkswagen has really paid a lot of attention. This is a beautiful brownish cinnamon colored seat. It's not really coming through properly in the camera, but cinnamon and brown is probably the best way I can describe it. It does have a nice cross-stitch pattern here with flanking black and silver leather stitching. Now let's hop onto the inside, and the premium feel does continue in here. They call this American decor wood or something along those lines, and it gives it a very upscale and luxurious feeling here. There is ambient lighting here. It's not coming through, but there you go. That gives it a cool touch, and that continues here on the upper dash, and actually it continues onto the door. But some of the other highlights here. All right, so let's talk about it. So let's talk about the screens. There is a 10.25 inch screen back here. The car is not on, and unfortunately I don't have the ability to turn it on, but the Volkswagen screen up front is very nice. It's clear, it's easy to use, and there's a bunch of information there. Let me come around here. So this is the new infotainment screen that Volkswagen is putting in basically all of their cars. There are two options. There's a 12 inch screen and there's a 15 inch screen. It's very, very big. It has a lot of shortcuts up here at the top. If you want, you can run Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The graphics are nice, crisp, clean, easy to use. It looks like a simple system. But one of the things that might turn some people away is the fact that the climate controls and a lot of the functions have been moved into the infotainment system. So there's a slider here, and also there is a slider for the volume and the air conditioning functions. Also for the heated seats, everything is inside of the infotainment system. You basically have no buttons down here in the center stack. Two cup holders, a place probably to put your cell phone, and there is a little knob here, which is nice. This does control the volume, so if you didn't want to use the slider up here, Volkswagen is giving you an option to use this volume knob. And in addition to that, if you push this down, this kind of gives you a vibe selector or a mode selector, which it's not doing in this car. I'm not sure why, but it's not doing it here, but that's essentially what this is for. Oh, it says please switch on the ignition first. But yeah, essentially when you push this, it allows you to switch through modes like calm, intense, things like that, others themes that Volkswagen is doing. There are two USB Type-C control or USB Type-C chargers right here in the glove box, and also some space for you to put your cell phone and whatnot. Now on the inside, in terms of the seat, I'm 5'11". You can see I have plenty of headroom. I also have plenty of legroom. The overall cabin up front seems adequately sized and not small whatsoever. I get a really nice feeling sitting in here. The seat is comfortable, nicely cushioned, and I don't know if it's going to translate into the standard versions of this seat because, as I said, this has the upgraded leather and whatnot, but it is a pretty nice interior up here in the front. Now let's check out the back seats. Right now, let's look at the back seats. The seating continues, the material, the pattern, all of it continues in the back seats. Let's go ahead and hop in so I can give you a perspective of the size. And wow, this is pretty nice back here. So again, sitting at 5'11", I have plenty of leg room. I also have an amazing amount of leg room here. check this out. Look at all this legroom I have in the back, and I am sitting in front of myself, or actually behind myself, so there's plenty of legroom. I don't have any issues in the back here. I would say 3 adults is probably going to be a squeeze. 2 adults are going to fit in here just fine. 3 children will also fit in here just fine. Now let's turn this thing around. This does have heated seats in this trim level, controlled via this button. There is a 3rd zone climate control, and also 2 USB Type-C outlets for the backseat passengers. So that is the brand new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan. There is more information to come. There's no pricing announced yet, but Volkswagen, or I estimate that it'll probably be between $30,000 and $35,000 in terms of release and availability. Somewhere in the middle of 2025 is what I'm hearing. If you got any questions about the Tiguan, please make sure you leave me a comment down below or send me a message on Instagram @DriveSteady. If you happen to be interested in some of the other Volkswagen products from the LA Auto Show, here's some links. Or if you're just interested in my LA Auto Show coverage, here's some other videos for you to watch. Otherwise, thank you for watching this video. Until next time, drive steady.